looks like there's going to be a bit of a delay. I don't know, something up, looks like there's something up with the connection. Okay, let me try that again. Is that better? Hi everyone, if you're watching a recording, I'm going to fast forward a minute here. We'll get started very shortly. Let's see. Checking my connection. I feel like it's a little slow, so let's see where it's running today. It's not awful. It's not great either. Okay. And my mouse just died again. Oh boy. I think I killed another mouse. Let me see if I can get to another mouse here. Apparently I have a knack for killing mice. Okay, we tried new mouse. Okay. I think we're gonna have to go to corded mice, you know, give up on this whole cordless mouse thing. Because apparently it's not the battery. Well, I'm saying this like you guys know what's going on. My mouse died last night in the middle of a Zoom call, so live it and learn. Anyway, hi everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 7th. It's week 124. I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. I know we did. A little bit too relaxing because I didn't get much done. Oops. But hey, we all need a little bit of that now and then, right? I am QFOM Gray and I'm simulcasting on 4 channels: YouTube, Facebook, my personal Facebook, the QTalk Facebook, and Twitch TV. So if you're not on one of those channels, switch over and see what's going on the other side. It's sort of fun. If you are not on the QTalk Facebook page, do join me there because that's where you'll find the calendar and everything that's coming up and happening in the near future. That said, what's going on today is Keep It Simple Teeter Tottering. So the last 2 weeks we were doing a project called Teeter Totter. I probably should grab it and show you. And then during the Zoom along last week, see, this is why you want to go to Zoom alongs, right? So you can hear what's going on. So during the Zoom along last week, a conversation came up about maybe someone thought that this project, when they saw the title Teeter Totter, that it was kinetic. And I thought about it for a minute and went, you know what? That'd be a really fun project. So maybe next week we should do a kinetic teeter totter. So that's why we're teeter tottering. That said, so we're going to do basically the same pendant sort of, but we're going to make it kinetic. So I don't know how it's going to work. I am assuming it will work. And I have a theory. Everything's theoretical, you know that, until you actually I start working with it. You know, doing sketches and things are lovely for ideas and designs, but sometimes putting it into practice is not so practical. So what are you going to need today? I assume you will need a tube cutting plier, which means you're going to need some cut lube and a saw, a leather mallet, bench block, bench pin, a pair of cutters will probably be your friend, and some sort of a looping plier or round nose plier, just to make a loop, and a file, and probably some sandpaper too would be helpful today. Okay, so then for materials, what I decided that I was going to use something a little bit heavier. Last time I used 24 gauge. Today I am using 22 gauge. I've already gone ahead and pre-cut a oval shape because I like the shape, but clearly you can do whatever shape you want. And I have some tubing. This is probably about 3mm tubing, OD, okay? And I have some 16 gauge wire here. All copper. You can use whatever you want. Of course, whatever metal suits you whatever metal suits you is not a problem. Okay, so let's jump in and see what we've got. You know, I was thinking that this was going to be helpful, but maybe it's not. Okay, so usually with these templates, there are markers so that it will help you find the center. And this one is not so obvious. Hold on, I need a ruler. Sorry? Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm not talking to myself. Andy's in my ear telling me things. I'm like, what are you saying to me? Okay, there we are. Okay, so it's not so obvious on this circle template that we have markers, but here's a dot here and here's a dot here, and I'm going to use it as my guide. So we'll take out a ruler and put those dots right in between the ruler. This will help me find the center for soldering, right? We'll go ahead and do that. Since we're doing copper today, I'm going to go ahead and use copper solder. Of course, it's going to be copper solder paste because you all know how much I like paste. And we'll put it right. Actually, I think I'm going to use the honeycomb block. Okay. And let's come in a little bit tighter so you can see what's going on. So you could trim the tube. I'm going to put the tube on here. You could trim the tube to size if you want to, but you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just sort of put it right on here and hold it in place, and I'll trim it after. It's just a choice I am making. Okay. I know it's off center, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and move it right on center like so. Let me see, double check. Here we are. And then we'll take some solder paste, and I'm just going to place it right next to it, just along the side, and we'll draw it to the other side. Okay, there we are. Oops. Not thinking, not thinking. How about we move it up to the end like so. And it's just going to put a couple dabs right along the side. You don't need to spread it around. Okay, there we go. Just want to center it, make sure it's good. So there's a question out there. By the way, if you have questions, Andy's relaying them to me. The question is, does copper solder come in pallions and sheet and wire? The answer is yes, it does. Honestly though, I haven't seen it sold as pallions. I've seen it sold as wire. I can't say I've ever gone looking for sheet, but I'm going to assume that it's out there. Why not? Why wouldn't it be, right? But definitely wire. You can cut it down to pallions. But remember, if you use wire, you have to add flux to it, okay? All right, so let's see. I need a lighter. I'm going to use my Gentech today. Here we are. Get it nice and hot. Make sure that the bottom plate is hot too, because that needs to get hot. So does the tubing. Because remember, when you're soldering, everything's got to get hot evenly for the solder to flow properly, right? To attach. Okay, so just asking it to come towards me. Remember, solder follows heat. And that should have done it. Holding it down because it was a little wobbly. My tubing wasn't as straight as I would like it to be. Oops. Carefully put the torch away, giving this a moment to set because copper solder likes a minute. Good quench. Let's check it. Oh, it's on there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this into the pickle. In the meantime, I'm going to take out my 16 gauge wire and I'm going to make a ball on the end. Okay? Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but my camera keeps turning on its light. I haven't figured out what the deal is. Okay, do this again. And I'm just going to ball the end so it's large enough that it doesn't pass through the tubing. So just want to hold that right there. And I'm choosing the Gentech today because I knew how much heat it was going to take to get this 16 gauge to ball up. I'm like, why struggle with a butane torch when I have tools? You see, if you have tools, you really ought to use it. It's a thing. It's a good thing, right? What are you saving it for? But then we go back to the theory. I'm sure you guys have seen it all over social media. Don't save that candle. Use the good linens. You know, enjoy your life. You bought it. You earned it. Enjoy it. Okay, well, it didn't quite pickle all the way. Look at that. Oops. Let me stick it in a little bit longer. Make sure it goes all the way down. Give it another second here. Okay, so then next up, what we're going to do is we're going to saw it into pieces. And once I pull it out, I'll explain to you what my thought is on that. Okay, let's see. By the way, if you've not put together a bench pin, it's a little counterintuitive. I see people all the time go to class and they're clamping this to their bench, just like so. But the reality is this goes in from the side and you turn it, and then this goes into the workbench, okay? Just so you know, it took me a bit to figure it out when I first started too. Okay, I'm using a new keyboard tray. Still trying to figure out how to do it, so hold on a second. Let me see if I can put it away. Really? Wow. It's not wanting to move. Oh, the challenges, the challenges. What is going on here? So I have this fancy keyboard tray that now does not want to go anywhere. That's great. All right, well, you'll get to look at my keyboard when I change over to the other camera here. Let's see if I can get this on. Okay. Nope. Slightly new setup. Still trying to figure all this out. You know, it's an evolution. It continues to evolve. Okay, get that bench pin on. Let's pull the pieces out of the pickle. Okay, here we are. I don't need it to be particularly clean. All right, so here's the question, right? At first I was going to mimic this piece just like so and do these sort of zigzag cuts. But the more I thought about it, if you do those zigzag cuts and you want this to be kinetic, they'll interfere with each other. They won't be so, you know, they because you have smaller and larger wedges, right? So the more I thought about it, the more it occurred to me that the cuts are going to have to be straight if they're going to teeter-totter back and forth. So we're going to go ahead and make some straight lines. see if it works. Oops, a little wet. And you're going to see why I decided to solder the tubing on first. Because reality is, if I saw it afterwards, right? One, two, yeah, something like that. Think about it. If I saw the tube first, then I would have to solder multiple times. So here, I only have to solder once. And now that I'm saying that out loud, whoops, I wonder if I soldered all the way through, because of course you're going to have to make sure that the solder runs from end to end. If not, once you saw the pieces out, you might have loose pieces. Okay, something I didn't think about till just now. I know, not so smart, huh? Okay, again, this is what you get for experimenting and not thinking it through. I'm going to resolder this just in case, because you know what? It's going to be a good Wednesday. It's not Monday. Right? Right. Okay, so we're going to put it right back in here. Set it up again. Get that really nice and tight. Just to keep it in place. Grab some more solder. Of course, you know, if I'm doing this for real, like with a piece of silver or something that I'm actually going to present to somebody, I'm going to do this a lot neater. So the question is, how would you handle texturing if you wanted to add texture? Well, first of all, you could have used texture plate instead of using just plain plain metal. The other thing that you could do is you would want to, before you cut your shape, you'll want to go ahead and texture your piece first, or else your shape is going to be a little wonky, right? If you cut it first and then textured it, it'll distort your shape. But if that's the look you want, of course, you can go ahead and do that. So texture it first and then cut out your shape. That's usually the rule. Yeah, I'm putting a ton of solder on here. Just go with it. Pretend like I know what I'm doing. Okay. Do that again. You can see, I don't know if you can see that whole sparkling thing. What's happening is it's a little wet. So it's sort of not liking me. You know what? I'm going to throw some heat down the tubing just to get the water out of there. There we go. Play nice. And notice I'm really heating on the one side more than the other, wanting the solder to come to the other side, because I really want it to fill in the entire length of the tubing. So yes, you can do a heat patina because it's copper, and that's what we will do at the end of this. Of course. Why not, right? Okay, let's see what happens. Give it a minute to set, because again, it's copper. Yeah, I think it did it. Let's give it a good quench. So the water seems to be sitting on top here, which is great, which means it should be a really, really nice seal. Throw that back in the pickle. Okay, don't lose that. And then we'll saw. Let's see. All right, so let's switch over cameras and pull this out of the pickle here in just a second. There we are. So it looks like there's some transfer from the board, but that's okay. So I thought I was going to need my tube cutting plier, but I decided not to trim the tube. So we'll just go ahead and saw right into that and shorten that here. All right, don't forget your cut lube. So, okay, let's go right there. And you know, it just occurred to me, this is where your brooch would be really nice to have. If you have a brooch, let's see where mine is. Of course, do you think it's, where would I have my brooch if I had a brooch? Oh, right there. Exactly where I thought it would be. So what's a brooch? So this is a set of brooches, and of course you can find it on the urbanbeater.com. And it basically has 4 sides, 4 sharpened sides, and it's really nice when you're doing tubes because you can put it right in there, spin it around, and it deburrs the inside of your tube. How cool is that, right? And it occurred to me, I forgot, last week I had promised some people that I would demonstrate how to use the hollow scraper. So don't let me forget to do that today. All right, so there it is. I lost my cuts. That's okay. We'll just put them back in. Or my marks, right? So what do we want to do? We want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Go across like so. And I'll do them in different sizes just to keep it interesting. Try to keep it parallel. Wow. Okay. You know what? I think this is a little too heavy for me. I'm going to switch this out. I think that was a size 1. I'm going to go to a 2. I usually like to use 2s. I find that they are a little bit easier. And 2 is considered a standard size. A lot of people like using 3s, 3/0. They're a little bit finer. Depending on what you're doing is what you're going to, the decision you'll make, right? What's appropriate for you. But when it comes to sizes, unless you're doing filigree, it's really personal. Nice long strokes, as straight as I can get it. Always keep your eyes in front of the saw blade so you know where you're going. Clearly I hit the tube. Always use the full length of your saw blade. It's fighting back because I don't have leverage anymore. So I'm going to take it really nice and slow and easy. There we go. So there's the first one. You know what? I should probably mark these, huh? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just makes your life a little bit easier to keep track of. Okay. So this is going to take a minute because I'm really just taking my time. I know, when do I ever do that? Don't push your saw blade. Let it glide nice and gently. If it fights you, just pull back. Don't keep pushing forward. Go. I'm checking to see that I haven't mushed my tube. Because, you know, it's easy to do. Especially if you're not paying attention. Okay, almost there. So I know a lot of you don't like sawing, but I really do love sawing. And even though I'm sitting here doing this live, you know, I get to just saw away and think about other things. Like what I'm doing the rest of my day. Since I already took Titus out for a walk today, right? What else is there to do today? Run errands so we can leave on our trip to beat everything tomorrow. Classes, oops, oh, classes start on Friday. Okay. So someone just suggested I put wire in the tube so it doesn't get crushed. That's a really good idea. Could you? Yeah. Oh, okay. So that wasn't a suggestion. That was a question. Yeah, good idea. You know, the other thing you could do too, which I wouldn't do, just because I find that it is very, it's just messy, is you can fill it with wax. It's a thing. It's a thing. So they say that to bend tubing, one of the tricks is to put wax inside and then bend it because it stabilizes your tubing so it doesn't crimp up. And then, but there's also for me the argument of, yeah, have fun trying to fill that little tiny tube with wax. Let me know how that works out. So whoever was asking, thank you. And you know what's really bad is I didn't bother to measure what hopefully I left enough behind. There we go. Okay. So let's file this a little bit. Just remove any sharp edges. And to help straighten it out a little bit. You know, my cut is not perfect, so this will hopefully straighten it out. Because it's copper, the tubing, and we've been heating on it, the tubing is, I'm sorry, the oval was a little bit soft, so it's bent. That's why I pushed down on it, straighten it out a little bit. You could put it on a bench block, but just be careful. Okay. You see how it's not straight? You can see that here, right? So we'll just straighten it out just a little bit because it's so soft. And off the bench it went. I'll go back to it here in a minute. I'll pick it up in a minute. And look, isn't that nice? That wire is right there for me to hold on to. Maybe try it the other way. Never mind. Okay. Well, so much for that manicure. I know. Gloves. Gloves. Put on the gloves. Actually, the gloves are already packed. Go. And then we're going to broach all these out just to give it a nice finish. So if you've ever wondered, if you're watching and you've been to classes, why I've never brought brooches to class, frankly, I would never get them back. Because look how small they are. You know, they would all just break. It's a thing. Okay. We have slippery fingers today. Nothing's staying here. All right. Excuse me for a second. Let me go get these off the ground. Let's take this off and switch cameras. Because maybe if I worked over the table, I wouldn't be dropping them on the ground. That's a big maybe though. Go. Did I finish cleaning these? So the thing is too, you need to get the burrs out, especially if your wire is going to be really tight. And I do want the wire to be fairly tight on the inside of the tubing because I don't want it to wobble so much. And give me just a second here. Okay, so I've now bent my wire, so we'll go ahead and fix that. Put it on a bench block. Grab a second bench block. Let's see if we can roll this out. And notice I'm hanging the ball off the side. See, nice and straight. And we're almost done. Okay, we'll put this in. Yay! 1, 2, 3. What number are you? Oh, you're 3. I lost your number. Does that make you 2? Okay, so you have to be 4. Is that right? Yep. And you can already see how it is kinetic, right? Because it's moving. Ha 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 ha. Making me happy. Yeah. Okay. So here, you know, and the more I'm thinking about this, of course, I didn't think about this project as, you know, I woke up to this morning. Is if you want this to look really, really neat, what you could have done is made a second oval and soldered it on this side. So my suggestion, and then you wouldn't see the tubing, right? Even though we're gonna wear it like so. We're gonna wear this, and the tube side will be against your body, and you really shouldn't be able to see the other side, but it is, you know, it moves with you. This piece is gonna move with me. But you could put another piece on the back side, another oval on the back side, and solder that on, and then you want to saw both of them at the same time. That guarantees that you're going to have the same cut on all the pieces. It's a little bit more complicated, but you know, another thing you could do too, because when you go to saw the pieces, because you know it sort of has a space in between, right? Is how do you prevent it from collapsing? So what you could do is back to the wax thing, or you could take out something like jet set and put it in between the wedges, or the, what do you call it, in between the in the void, right? You put the jet set in the void, set it there, and then saw through the jet set, and that way it'll keep everything nice and stable, and it's easy enough to remove. You just put it back in warm water, pull the jet set out, and voila. So that's the piece. Okay. So the question is, will it move when it's worn? I don't know. We're about to find out. This is all theory. Remember that? Okay. So Andy said it will if they're earrings, which is true. Very true. Good call, honey. Okie dokie. It's a little bit short. So I'm just going to help it out by bringing it around. So, and yes, as suggested, you can make one side silver, one side copper. You can do whatever you want, like the brass and copper that I did last week. You know, have fun with it. One side textured, one side's not. Alternate it, whatever. So many choices. So just a simple loop with a looping plier of some sort. I'm going to bend it down really nice and tight because you want that to not be an opening, right? Okay. So then, let's see, let's clean this up just a little bit with a little bit of steel wool and take some of the markings off. It'll come off with the torch, but I want to guarantee that it doesn't leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there. Okay, turn this over. There we are. Just clean it up a little bit. And again, I had some transfer on here. It would take a little bit of time just to take some sandpaper and clean that off. I'm not going to bother for this. We're just having fun today. And let's go ahead and heat patina this just a little bit. Wow. Tubing is great. Is a great way to add movement to your piece. You know, it's a great little element. So we're just going to heat patina this just a little bit, see what happens. Watch it. I don't want to get this so hot that I open up the solder again, right? So I'm just going to do a little bit of time, watch it, see where it goes, see if I like it. There it is. There it is. There we go. Don't quench it or you're going to lose it. I'm just going to move this right off so it cools somewhere else. Actually, I'm going to throw it on my bench block, which is next to me, for a second here, and then I'll bring it right back. But now I think about it, I have a cold piece of tile and just put it right down here. Okay, so while that's cooling, let me go grab a sample that I can show you how to use the hollow scraper. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put this on and see what happens. Okie dokie. I don't know. I don't know. Not so sure that it moves. But it's fun to play with, I can say that. You can make it into your new fidget thing. It's okay. It's not great. So, answers that question, right? But it's a lesson in kinetic pieces. That's it. Okay, so any questions on that? Shout out, send me a note, whatever. We're going to move on. I'm going to show you how to use a hollow scraper. So hollow scraper, as you can see, this is triangle. It's a triangle shape, and it has a sharp edge on all three corners. And what you use it for is you can use it to deburr tubing, but you know, it doesn't get particularly small. It doesn't going to go all the way through. I use it as a really quick and dirty if I had maybe a 4mm tube or larger. But if this was a ring band, say, you know, it was cut like so, it was a ring shank, and you had this area on the inside that needed to be taken down, what you would do is you would take this and you would put it to the inside. Let's see if I can get a little closer here. You want to hold it down like so, but you guys won't see what I'm doing, so I'm just going to hold it up so you can see. You see, I have two edges. You want both edges to make contact to the inside. Make contact to the inside of your ring shank, or again, in this case, your pipe. And then as it makes contact on both sides, you're going to scrape it at that angle. You're going to work your way around. You can see already that I'm getting little shavings off of there. It's a really great tool for $7. You can get it at theurbanbeater.com. You can just search for hollow scraper. Andy has posted the link. It's a really, really great tool to very quickly create a nice beveled edge. And what's great about it is it's really nice and even. And honestly, I think this is just so gratifying. I can sit here and do this all day. And you can go as far as you want, and it creates a very comfortable fit. You just want to go all the way around. I know I've already made it around a couple times, but I can't help myself. I just really like doing this. It makes me so happy. And it would be a lot easier if I actually had this. I mean, work off of your your bench pin so that your hand can hang off the side and not steady on the on your bench. Actually, you know what? I can move into the workbench. I'm sorry, the bench pin, and show you that from the bench pin here. Hold on. Let me put that bench pin back and turn that camera back on. Okay. Yeah. So you see, you want it on on the bench pin, so you can hang your hand off the side like so, and it'll be even easier to do than how I was doing it earlier, and just scrape it. And remember, you want to keep 2 edges on the surface, and that way you're not just digging in, right? It keeps it really stable. There it is. And then you can change your angle if you want to, but you want to keep that as consistent as possible, and then you'll have the same bevel all the way around. So I think you can see that I have this nice little cut on the inside of this. I love it. So that's one of the newest tools that we've added onto our website. The other tool, you guys have asked for it before, and we were unable to get distribution on it until recently. So the other one that we recently added onto our website, just so you know, is a carbon ring mandrel. And what's nice about a carbon ring mandrel is you can put your ring on there, right? If that was your ring. And then you can put a stone on there and solder directly on there. And because it's carbon, if you had some solder that bled, it won't stick to the carbon, so you can gently get it off. Now, just be really careful when you're using a carbon ring mandrel. The temptation is to go ahead and grab this, but it is going to be hot. So just be really careful. Anything that you've been torching on, just remember it's hot. These things, they're all heat sinks, right? So the advantage of the carbon versus a ceramic one, which is really more easy to find. You can find these ceramic ones all over the place. I have found that using a butane torch, I can't get my pieces hot enough. So that's why the carbon ring mandrel is really nice, because there's less heat sink onto it, right? So I don't know why I have the ceramic one, but this is what I started off with, and I think I've used it twice. Let's be honest. So anyway, that's what we have today. It was really simple, I think. It was sort of fun. It was a bit of a lesson. Hopefully you guys all learned a little something. What else? What is going on the rest of the week? Nothing except for Beat Everything. Friday I'll be on the road, or I'll be at Beat Everything, getting on the road tomorrow. And next week I will be in Morocco. Last minute trip. I'll report back. Maybe we can go live from there. I don't know. It depends on what my bandwidth is going to look like. Andy says that there is another question. So before I go, let's take that question. So the question is, can you still subscribe to Twitch on Amazon Prime? I assume you still can. I don't know why that you're having problems with it, but I'll take a look at it, and if I find out anything, I will share that. But you should still be able to. So thank you so much for your support out there, and subscribing to the Twitch channel. So for those of you who are new and have not heard, I am on twitch.tv, and if you have Amazon Prime, it is a free subscription, and I actually get paid for it. So it costs nothing to you, and I get a little benefit from that. So hopefully you've learned something through these segments and you find value in what you see. So do consider a contribution or subscribing to the Twitch channel. Until then, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Report back from Morocco. Wish me luck. I hope it all goes well, as I will be taking a jewelry making class there to make a traditional Moroccan pendants, what I've been told, and a cooking class and a few other things, maybe a leather making class too while I'm there. And I will report back all my finds. All right, so until then, have a really, really great couple of weeks.